So we're at that point in the NBA season where there's no hoops for a whole week, unless you count the All-Star weekend being hoops, which, I personally don't. So I think it's the perfect time to tier rank NBA teams. Okay, so this is the website that we usually use for tier ranking NBA team. And the way that I'm going to do this is that I'm going to tier rank these teams into groups, so that if I put Atlanta Hawks in S tier and I put the Boston Celtics in S tier, that doesn't mean that I think that the Atlanta Hawks are better than the Boston Celtics, even though they're higher on the list. It means that they're both in that same tier and that they're all S tier, okay? Okay, with that being said, our first team to tier rank is the Atlanta Hawks. And for the Atlanta Hawks, they're obviously in that phase after the Trae Young era. They traded away Trae Young. They're trying to build around Jalen Johnson. They got in some new pieces such as Jonathan Kuminga, and they traded away Kristaps Porzingis. So they're kind of like teetering around that play-in tournament as they always are. And because they're always teetering around that play-in tournament, I have to put them in the C tier. That's just the mid tier where a lot of the teams that we're used to being in the play-in tournament are going to be there. So Atlanta Hawks in the C tier. Alright, next we have the Boston Celtics. This is one of the main surprises of the NBA season. Everyone expected the Boston Celtics to be kind of bad without Jason Tatum, but they've been stepping up and they're currently the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Brown has been carrying this team. They've gotten a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys, such as Peyton Pritchard, Neemias Queta. With Jason Tatum on the burner to come back, it's going to be dark for the rest of the NBA. So I would put them at the A tier just because of how surprising they've been in terms of what we expected them to be like and what they are now. Okay, next we don't have one of the most exciting teams, but we have the Brooklyn Nets, and this is one of those tanking teams. They're either going to be in D or F tier. The reason for putting Brooklyn at the D tier, which I'm going to do, is because I kind of like the direction that they're taking. They are always bringing in guys that they think that can have good value on the trade market. They didn't trade Michael Porter Jr. now, but they've had a direction and they've been sticking to that direction, you know what I'm saying? So I think Brooklyn at D tier makes the most sense because it's not like they have no direction like some other teams that we'll get to. Next we have one of the most exciting teams in basketball, and that is the Charlotte Hornets. Oh man, the Hornets. I would have never expected them to become what they've become right now. They had a streak where they were 15-1. Can you believe that? The Charlotte Hornets, who have been sort of the laughingstock of the NBA for a while. I mean, unless you consider the Kings to be, which I wouldn't blame you. But the Charlotte Hornets have been sort of down there for a while, and for them to have such a come up in the middle of the NBA season when a lot of other teams are just sleepwalking is just amazing to me. Everyone has been playing well. They have this amazing camaraderie over there, and for that, because of the expectations, just like I had for the Boston Celtics, and because of how they're playing right now, I'm actually going to put them at the B tier. They're one of the most exciting teams in basketball right now. Next we have another one of those teams that didn't really have a direction at the beginning of the season and always seemed to be teetering around that play-in tournament, but now they have a direction. They've taken a tanking direction by trading for a bunch of guards, basically selling on all their players, which is a new thing for the Chicago Bulls. So because of them actually taking a direction, instead of putting them in the D tier like a lot of the other tanking teams, I'm going to put them at the C tier, along with the Atlanta Hawks that they're always competing with in the play-in tournament. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers. This team I was complaining about so much at the beginning and towards the middle of the season before the trade deadline because we already knew that Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, that core 4 was not working, and so I'm so glad that they traded away Darius Garland in order to get someone that could fit their timeline now next to Donovan Mitchell and really make a difference. And sure enough, look at that. They're undefeated with James Harden in the lineup, and so because of that, I actually really like this team now, so I'm going to put them in the A tier. The reason I'm not putting them in the S tier just yet is because we've only really had a really small sample size of James Harden. So maybe if I do this tiering at the end of the season before the playoffs start, I might put the Cleveland Cavaliers at the S tier along with the other title contenders. Okay, now the Dallas Mavericks. Yes, it's been fun to watch Cooper Flag, but at the same time, the Dallas Mavericks traded away Anthony Davis. They pretty much only have Kyrie Irving left on this team from the original team that Nico Harrison orchestrated. So I would say that the Dallas Mavericks should be in the same tier as the tanking teams. So I'm going to put them at D tier just because they aren't super bad and they don't have this lost direction that these other teams have. The Denver Nuggets. Okay, this is one of our title contenders, obviously, with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. All-star, congrats to him, shout out to him. So I'm going to put them in the S tier. We all know the Denver Nuggets are great. They're going to be giving the OKC Thunder a run for their money, the other title contenders a run for their money. I can't wait to watch them in the playoffs. You guys know that the Denver Nuggets are obviously S tier. Alright, the Pistons, Detroit basketball. These guys are also one of the most exciting teams this season just because of the steps that they've taken in all of the previous seasons leading up to this. And now they're the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They have damn near the same record as the OKC Thunder, even though everyone was saying OKC was going to be the historically best team at the beginning of the season. So obviously they're also S tier. I don't think I need to say much more than that about the Detroit Pistons. Next we have my team, the Golden State Warriors. They have been pretty disappointing this season, especially with Steph Curry playing at the level that he was still playing at, the Jimmy Butler injury. Everything just went downhill after that. And so I'm going to actually put them in the C tier. It might be kind of low because of the potential that they have, but just I don't think anyone expects them to really be able to win a championship. So C tier it is for them. Houston, another team that is really, really good, but also might be a little bit disappointing considering the talent that they have with Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, Baby Jokic, Amen Thompson. Yeah, Fred VanVleet has been out, but the Rockets, there was huge expectations for them to also be a title contender in that S tier, and just because they're coming up a little bit short, they're a little disappointing at times. They go through these little stretches where they're losing to a bunch of different teams that they shouldn't be losing to. I'm going to put them in the A tier. You probably thought I was going to put them lower, right? But no, A tier because they are still a really, really good team in the Western Conference that is jam-packed with all these different good teams. The Pacers, obviously they're not going to be high on the list, even though they could have been with Tyrese in the lineup and they made a really good trade for Zubac. The Indiana Pacers have been tanking and they've been obviously tanking, so I'm going to put them in the F tier. Next season they'll be back, I promise. Clippers. Okay, so there were so many mixed emotions for the Clippers throughout this season because they were bad, and then they were good, and then they traded away everyone, and now they're bad again, kind of. Except for Kawhi Leonard, who's been literally amazing. So, because they've been such a confusing team, and you tend to put a lot of the mid-confusing teams in C tier, that's where I'll put them. Kawhi Leonard is single-handedly carrying this team right now, and they have the potential to be a lot lower, but they don't even have their first-round pick, so they're not going to obviously tank. The Los Angeles Lakers, they're obviously a good team with Luka Doncic, LeBron James. Austin Reeves is back, yay. They've been a little bit disappointing, I can't lie, just because you still have LeBron, and when you still have LeBron, you should be competing for a championship, right? And since they're not competing for a championship, really, I wouldn't put them in those title contenders or even those really, really good teams at the top of their conferences. I'm going to put them in the B tier. Memphis. Okay, so the Grizzlies are obviously tanking. I watched them play against the Warriors the other day, and they were up like 14 points at the end with like 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And I watched Cam Spencer literally have a shot at the game winner, and instead he passed it out of bounds. This is Cam Spencer, a guy who literally takes any shot that he sees. So yeah. The Grizzlies, D tier. I'm tempted to put them lower just because of how egregiously they've been tanking, but D tier. Miami Heat. Okay, this is definitely one of those teams that always deserves to be in the C tier just because they're a play-in tournament. They did absolutely nothing at the trade deadline. I don't even know what they're trying to do, what Pat Riley is trying to do. Are you just always hoping that Bam Adebayo will be your star player? Like, I don't really see what the direction is for this team, so they're literally the definition of mid. Milwaukee, I'm literally so mad at you because of all the drama that you caused with Giannis just to not trade him, so I'm really, really tempted to put you right here. I'm so tempted to put you right here. But instead, I'll put you at D tier, I guess, because you at least are trying to do something around Giannis. You signed Cam Thomas, which was a good pickup. Whatever. Minnesota, you have one of my favorite players in the league, Anthony Edwards, to watch, and you are one of those teams that is really, really good at the top of the Western Conference. And so instead of putting you in the S tier, because I don't really quite believe you can compete with OKC, even though you did beat them one time. That will always count. But I'm going to put you at the A tier. New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, so this is one of those teams that, yeah, it's going to be in the F tier because it was always doomed from the beginning once you traded that pick for Derek Queen, which no shot at Derek Queen, he's an amazing young player, but whenever you trade that valuable of a pick, it's just doomed from the beginning. And they still didn't do anything at the trade deadline because obviously that front office has no idea what they're doing. So F tier it is. New York basketball. Okay, so the New York Knicks are a really, really good team in the Eastern Conference. They're not so much at that level of the Detroit Pistons. You could say that they're a little bit disappointing because they're only the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they're behind the Boston Celtics, which is kind of sad considering that they literally only have Jaylen Brown. They don't even have Jason Tatum, so everyone expected them to be just a teeny bit better. So I'm going to put them in the A tier. The OKC Thunder. No words needed about that one. The Orlando Magic. Okay, so Orlando, Another one of those teams that is a little bit confusing to gauge where they are. I really don't like that they're still sticking with Paolo and Franz. They really need to make a decision on that. So because of that, I'm going to put them with a lot of the other mid teams, C tier. 76ers. This team is so interesting to me because of all the drama that's happened with them, from the Paul George drug stuff to VJ Edgecombe being literally amazing. The 2 game winners, by the way, shout out to him in the Rising Stars game. So I'm going to put them at the B tier just because they are a good team in the Eastern Conference, which is good for them even without Joel Embiid playing like Joel Embiid. Yeah, B tier. We're almost done. Okay, the Phoenix Suns. Another one of those surprising teams that I did not expect to be good at all, but they're so fun to watch, surprisingly. Dylan Brooks, I hate you, but you are really, really interesting and fun to watch. So I'm going to put them at the B tier just because of how exciting they've been and how much over performance they've had. Portland Trailblazers. I am really confused how Damian Lillard is playing in 3-point contest with a torn Achilles and having not fully recovered from that. But other than that, and the decision to let him play in the 3-point contest, you guys have been not the worst team in basketball. Yay. D tier it is for you. Sacramento. Literally, what are you guys thinking? Like, I genuinely want to know. What are you thinking in terms of literally building the Chicago Bulls of the West and then thinking that you were going to be a good team, and then not tanking, but still being so bad that you are losing games? Like, I genuinely don't know what's going on in Sacramento. I've never known what's going on in Sacramento, and why is it always like that? Wembanyama Spurs, one of my favorite teams to watch. I'm literally always intrigued by whatever Wembanyama is doing on the basketball court, and because of that, even in terms of watchability, they're S tier, but they're also, in my opinion, a title contender, even with such a young team. They have OKC's number, and they're just such a good team. Toronto Raptors, you guys always look like you're the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors whenever you play us, my team, and so because of that, I'm going to put you S tier. No, I'm going to put you B tier. You guys are really, really good in the Eastern Conference, and definitely one of the more unexpected teams to be good. It's not the best orchestrated team. Like, why are you guys paying $40 million to Immanuel Quickley? But, you know, you guys are there. You're in the mix to be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference, which is always a success. Utah, you were one of those teams that was fined for egregiously tanking, and I can't say you didn't deserve it. So you're a tanking team, but you also have a direction by trading for Jaren Jackson Jr., which I really liked for you. Didn't quite understand the timing of it, but I understand it. So D tier, because you don't deserve to be with... You know what? I feel bad for the Pacers for being F tier. I'm going to move them also to D tier, because these are the 2 teams that only should deserve to be in the F tier. And last but not least, the Washington Wizards, who are always last whenever it comes to this rankings, but you guys are also D tier. What can I say? They're also a tanking team, but they also made an amazing trade like the Utah Jazz for trading for Anthony Davis, and then proceeded to sit him out with Trae Young for the rest of the season. So Washington Wizards D tier. The only 2 teams that deserve to be in the F tier, I'm telling you. Pelicans and the Sacramento Kings. Alright, and that is all 30 NBA teams tier ranked. If you made it this far in this video, you must have enjoyed it. So be sure to leave a like and let me know what you thought of the tier rankings below. If you disagree with any of them, if you agree with any of them. I personally don't think that they were that controversial, but, you know, up to you. Whatever. See you guys in the next one.